Hello there everybody, it is me XfreezerBunny and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we are building this traditional style Craftsman family home. So for this build I was really inspired to do something a little bit differently from my usual build, which in my opinion kind of tends to be a little bit more of like a single sim bachelor/bachelorette pad. And I remember the last time I did a craftsman style home a very long time ago when seasons first came out. A lot of you suggested I look at craftsman houses in Seattle, so I remember that, and I actually googled craftsman style family homes, and this house was actually inspired by literally like one of the first images that I saw of a floor plan from, I don't know, it was like maybe the 40s or the 50s. Yeah, it was a vintage floor plan of a craftsman style house, and I was really inspired by it. So this build is pretty much that. I did make a couple of changes, but pretty much the whole entire build was based off of that floor plan that I found. Now, for those of you who actually want to know a little bit more about the history of craftsman style architecture in the US in depth, I would highly suggest you check out the Craftsman Bungalow that my good friend Irrelevant Sims did a while back for her Decades build series, because she really kind of did a more in-depth talk about craftsman architecture. But for this build I'm just gonna go ahead and give you kind of like a more of a summary, I guess, of the architectural style, just so you would have a little bit of a insight on what it's all about. So the house we're building today is more of a typical American craftsman style house, inspired mainly by ones located in the West Coast, specifically in Washington State or California. So there's quite a lot of them around that area, and basically craftsman style architecture traces back its origins from the arts and crafts movement that actually started in the UK towards the late 19th, early 20th century, which was basically a response to the Industrial Revolution, and it was basically aiming to promote artisans who were losing a lot of their profession due to the trend of mass production that was happening during the Industrial Revolution. So this is why craftsman architecture really emphasizes a lot of the structural elements and uses that as decorative elements as well. So on the outside you can see the decorative corbels, which in my opinion are like one of the iconic aspects of craftsman architecture, and you'll see all throughout the house it definitely feels more rustic. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed doing the exterior. It's very simple, but I think it's pretty realistic as well, if I do say so myself. I also wanted to incorporate a little bit more of a contemporary vibe, which is why I chose to do a predominantly black exterior, because I felt like that was a little bit more contemporary. Like, you guys know how much I love Architecture Digest, right? And a while back I saw Jessica Alba, she gave a tour of her house, and I love her traditional black house. It wasn't craftsman style, it was more like a, I don't know, country farmhouse type thing. I love the all black house, and I've always wanted to make one ever since I saw that tour she did in Architecture Digest. It's on YouTube, by the way, if you're interested. So yeah, that's why I decided to go for a black exterior, because I just wanted it to feel more contemporary like that. For the interior, I did struggle a little bit because, like I said earlier, I don't really do a lot of traditional family houses anymore, so I definitely struggled a little bit with the interior, because at first I went for this really traditional, very warm color scheme, you know, lots of woods and very like earthy neutral colors, which is kind of like the typical color scheme you would associate with craftsman style architecture, but it didn't feel contemporary. You know, it felt very old school, in kind of like a dated sort of way, which I didn't really like. So later on you will see me change this entire color scheme into a much lighter one and kind of like into a more airy one as well. Yeah, I actually really enjoy doing this build. I didn't expect to enjoy making, you know, another family home, but since I was doing a lot of single sim houses recently, I decided it was a good, you know, break from, you know, my usual build, and I actually really wanted to make more family homes as well, because I find that these builds come in very useful for gameplay. So for those of you who do a lot of gameplay, I would think that this house would be a good, you know, option if you are looking for family homes, right? I also don't think it's that expensive. I think it's around 100k. So for a 3-bedroom home, that's a pretty good deal in my opinion, and there's room to expand. Like the upstairs actually has a bedroom for the kid, but there's also like a little loft area which you can also convert into a bedroom. So if you really want to, you can make this into a 4-bedroom house, which is pretty good deal in my opinion. So here I'm now changing this color scheme. I changed a lot of the wood tones to white, and I think my favorite aspect of this build is probably that fireplace bookshelf thing I did in the living room. I was really happy how that turned out. I just wish that we had more swatches for that bookshelf, because the bookshelf, they come in 3 swatches, right? Or like the books, they come in like 3 swatches, and it looks very repetitive, but other than that, it's fine. I can live with it. It looks pretty good in my opinion. So yeah, nothing really to complain about that. And now we're working on the master bedroom, which surprisingly is on the ground floor. And I think it's interesting that the entrance to the main bedroom is actually through the like living room, which is kind of unusual, but I think it still works. It definitely feels a little bit more unconventional. Another thing that is a little bit different from usual is the fact that the master bedroom shares a bathroom with the guest bedroom. So this bathroom is actually like a downstairs bathroom. You know, it isn't really meant to be for anyone in particular, but I just thought it was interesting that, you know, these 2 bedrooms kind of share a same common bathroom. And now we are working on the guest bedroom. And yeah, for the guest bedroom, I actually really like how I used that like peachy wallpaper. And this is just a pretty generic room, I guess. You can actually convert this into a skill building room or like an office if you want to. But oh, you know what, I kind of forgot, but this is actually a limited pack only build. Yeah, I love how I'm literally bringing that up halfway through the video. But for this build, I only used 8 packs. So I only used Cats and Dogs, Seasons, Get Famous, and University. And for the game packs, I only used Spa Day, Parenthood, Jungle Adventures, and Realm of Magic. I had to use Spa Day because the wallpaper that I wanted to use for the outside is from Spa Day. We actually don't have really nice black sidings that come with other packs. So yeah, the only one I could really use was the one from Spa Day. So yeah, over here upstairs there are 2 rooms, mainly for the kid. There's a little loft area where I initially intended to have like a computer, like video gaming area, and then I realized that we actually don't have gaming consoles that came with the packs that I use. I think they came with city living, I'm assuming. So yeah, I wasn't able to put like an actual gaming console, but it's fine. And then for the kids' bedroom, this is probably my favorite bedroom of the house because it just has so much personality. I love doing that bunk bed technique, even though it's not really functional. I really enjoy doing that because honestly, in real life, this is kind of very common to see in kids' bedrooms, and I think the lower bunk is actually functional. I might have to check that out though. And I just filled in this place with so much clutter. I always get questions from you guys asking me why I put those little chairs whenever I put like the dining tables and the desks. I'm doing that just so I can place the main chair angled, basically, because I don't really like, sometimes I don't like the look of, you know, a very straight laced chair, if that makes any sense. But now we're working on the landscaping, which actually took me surprisingly a long time to complete, and that's mainly because of how difficult this lot in particular was to landscape, because it's a pretty unusual lot, let's be real. Because the front of the lot doesn't actually connect to the road. The main road connection of this house is actually through the back, which is interesting. I think this is kind of exists in America, I guess, because I feel like, you know, Delta Valley was based off of California, so I don't know, it's pretty unusual, but I think it still works. I was able to take some cues from the houses next door to see how they did it. So yeah, basically the driveway is actually from the back, and then from the front there's not even a pathway that leads to the house, which is very unusual. But yeah, like I said, it still came out really nicely in the end. Most of the plants I used are from Debug, so that means you don't actually have to buy them because they cost nothing if you get them from Debug. Okay, so there's a lot of things that have been going on this past week or so, and I think the number one thing I would like to talk about now is the recent live stream for the upcoming expansion pack, Eco Lifestyle. And I hope that the pack has redeemed itself for some of you guys who probably weren't impressed by what you've seen from the trailer. I definitely think that the trailer didn't do justice to the pack. I mean, that being said, I'm always, you know, like, manage my expectations, I guess, whenever there's a new release, because I can't really make my final decision without, you know, spending time with the pack. And actually getting to play it myself. So I'm really excited to get my hands on the pack and doing the builds. I'm most excited about the open gameplay aspects of it. Like, I don't really care much for, you know, changing the whole aesthetic of the world, because I find that it's interesting when you start off, but it doesn't really like sustain my interest. Like, I tried playing with the whole conservationist career from Island Living and also the Strangerville campaign, and that just didn't sustain my interest. But I'm really excited for, you know, the renewable energy thing, and I like how it's really expanding on the like off the grid lot trade. It's literally everything I wanted when we first got off the grid. So I'm really looking forward to that. And you guys know how much I love farming as well. So yeah, it's totally up my alley, that kind of gameplay. But now we're furnishing this kind of like backyard area. So there's a lot of stuff for the kids, and also a lot of like kind of like hangout spaces for the family to kind of, you know, chill out, I guess. But I think that's actually going to be it for this build. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know what you think in the comments below. But other than that, I'm gonna go now. Thank you so much for watching. You all have an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.